Hotline FN. This is episode 21 of the live call-in show for your hot takes, bold predictions, and unpopular opinions surrounding the competitive Fortnite scene. And we've got a fantastic show tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. Not so much to talk about in-game, but a lot's going on in the scene. More than maybe you'd expect at first. So it'll be pretty exciting. We've got two phenomenal casters, analysts, and straight-up content machines on the show today. Of course, we've got, as always, the effervescent Ballatw, and this week as well, our man Shyowager. Before I bring them on, let me remind you how to participate in this little thing we call Hotline. You're going to type !Hotline FN or HLFN into the chat. That'll get you a link to the Discord channel. Once you're in the Discord channel, follow the instructions to submit your topic. I want to reiterate, we're not looking for questions. We want to talk about your hot takes, your bold predictions, and your unpopular opinions. Something we can really talk about and not just answer. That said, drum roll, please. What's up, gentlemen?
Yo.
With the shades on the Shyo and the flower. Dude, I don't want to get the flower. I just got the Logic hoodie. I don't have the... I'm not there. I should have known. Damn it.
Yes, sir, man. It's
Damn
the
it.
brand.
I have,
It's the brand
like,
you gotta represent.
flower octopuses or something. I don't know what this is.
That's weird.
I mean, you get
Yeah, we're coming live, so all kinds of weird today.
Heck yeah. Well, Balla, it's been a couple weeks. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since last episode. What have you been up to in that time frame?
I moved, as you can see.
Let's go.
Beautiful white wall that has nothing on it because everything is in boxes, and I have a house now. So
Hey.
that's basically what I've been doing. It's pretty awesome. But as far as Fortnite, I mean, like you said, there's not really much going on right now. So there hasn't been too much. I am working on like some cool creative stuff that I hope to release like tomorrow-ish. But besides that, you know, I moved. I think that's enough for what I've done in the past week.
Yeah. I hear you. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. Moving is so much. We were helping a lot of family and stuff move lately, and moving is a lot. I don't want to
Anything
move
go wrong?
ever
Yeah.
again. What was that, Shyo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything go wrong in the move or no?
Nah, not really. You know, some minor stuff, but no, nothing went wrong. We painted the entire house last weekend and just basically did a lot of work, but nothing went wrong, I would say. Probably.
That's good.
Except like everything's gonna be so damn expensive now, man. I have to pay for water. I have to pay for like filling my oil tank for my heater. Like, what is this? This costs a bunch of money. Like, what? On top of the mortgage that I have to pay now? Come on, man.
Millennial home ownership. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
All right,
Just get an
Shyo.
apartment.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, I'm loving it. Shyo, we had you on early on in the show twice.
Episode 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we had you on twice. Well, we do now.
No, one time.
Just
One
one
time.
time? Just for the one time? Well, now we're here for the
One
2
time.
time.
He calls in all the time. He's the only one of our guests that like calls back in regularly.
That's true. That's true. He's the real OG for that one. What have you been up to lately, Shyo? What's been this last week or so?
Bro, last week, it's like the pop-off week. I don't know what happened. Decided to start casting West and getting off my ass and like doing stuff. And it was fun, man. We did a little bit of viewing parties for West on stream. Got my internet fixed up, like regular daily streams too. It's nice. And then now I found like a nice way to start editing and have a passion for YouTube. So we've uploaded and edited a few videos. I'm just getting on the grind, man. It's grind season now for me. It's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. I mean, you've got a ton coming up, I know, which is super exciting. And then of course the content you've been pushing out. I know you were talking about on Twitter and talking to me about doing it daily, which is super exciting. I don't envy that grind. Yeah.
I gotta call you out real quick. I haven't seen any of your fucking content yet. Like I haven't seen it at all. I haven't seen it posted on Twitter. I haven't seen it. What have you made? I gotta go watch it.
Two days ago, I uploaded just an overall casting reel that I wanted to do at the start of January.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I did that just to
Dope.
start to, experience how it is just to upload a video. I want to get a better one out from last year as well, but wanted something concrete. And then literally 2 hours ago or an hour and a half ago, I uploaded a tip about like stair ramps or stair tarps and how to do them properly and combat like lag you'd experience at Anaheim if you were going there. But so basically 2 series that I'm trying to put out right now are called Fortnite Fast, which is like those ramp tarps, 5-minute videos to like explain one idea of the game, and then Fortnite one-on-one, where it's no gameplay. I'm talking to you, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We talk about a topic, explain it down and type stuff. So yeah.
Okay, I'm about this. This sounds pretty. That sounds pretty nice. Yeah. All right. I'm stoked on this. This is gonna be great. You know what? This content sounds extremely Redditable. I don't know what that's about.
Redditable, yeah. I mean, I posted it up there. Gonna see how it's doing, but we'll see. We'll see what's up. I just want to get to work, man. I'm seeing Monster putting in work. Balla's always putting in work. All the casters are doing things. Clay's harpooning things and uploading them on Twitter. I gotta get in the game, right? Like I gotta thoom.
Gotta thoom. Sometimes you gotta be like that. All right. Well, some of the big news. I mean, we got a lot of past events to talk about. But kind of the big interesting thing that's going on right this minute is that the Game Flip practice server event that was scheduled for this weekend, right?
This weekend.
This coming weekend. Yeah, it got snatched up. It's now an official Epic event, right? Like just snagged right up. $10,000 prize.
I don't know if I would call it official. It's definitely funded by Epic, but I wouldn't say it's an official Epic event.
That's fair. It's sponsored by. Okay. All right. Way to shoot the wind right out of my sails, but
I'm sorry. I just want to avoid because Epic's a little
what, Bo?
They're careful, so like I don't want to get anybody in trouble because it's a big deal. It is a big deal. Like, I guess we're talking about this now. Like it's huge that Epic is working with Prac server. Like think about that for a second. This is the practice server. This is you can't pull it up on screen, but if you've ever seen the Prac server logo, like it is drawn by 4-year-olds, like, and it's amazing. It's great, but like, really, it is the Prac server. And sure, the Prac server has been doing amazing things, but I think the bigger story is the fact that Epic is now all of a sudden willing to work with them. They've done it two tournaments in a row, 2 weekends in a row, right? Last weekend you guys did the S&D tournament, and now a big one. This is $10,000 up for grabs by big names. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the invite list, I didn't get a chance to like cruise through it too much right before we went live, but I mean, what I saw was massive, right? Like, I saw the first name, right? I saw Tfue.
It's top contenders only, and like the coolest part about it compared to other competitions kind of like this, it's like competitive top contenders. Because like before, in my opinion, sometimes you got a few people in there who are more content based, but right now, like if we're picking from Western Europe, everyone there is a current comp grinder, which is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just call them out. Shio, the AO invite list was full of
who shouldn't have been an AO. Yeah.
I dubbed that one like a 40% competitive event on my stream is what I said. There was a little bit of fight and brawl in there, but Mark Robinson versus the X2 twins, like what's going on, man? Like that's, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I've got the invite list pulled up here. We got incredible names, right? We got guys like Tfue, Canada, Scoped. We got Zex. We got Senior Bumpa. I don't know if he exactly this is quite the clouded tier of players here. And then there's like Bumpa, and he's underlined by the spell check. Ouch.
That was hilarious. The spell check.
When we got Tetra, Sampa. Like, let's go. Scented. This is gonna be great. Wavy Jacob. I'm stoked for it. Is Unknown's here. This is going to be a fantastic event to watch. You're casting this, right, Shio, with Monster D-Face?
I'm casting it with my dad, yes, sir. Monster D-Face.
Monster Dad Face.
It's going to be cool. Monster Dad Face, yes, sir. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. I just like the fact that we somehow, I wanted to mention this too, like Cash Cups have trained all these players to get used to the 80 ping, the 100 ping, to where now they're in the 10K price, like a 10K price pool high ping environment, and they don't mind, which is so cool. Because like hasn't happened before in my opinion, so it'll be nice.
Yeah. So if people are wondering, like there are EU players, there are NA West players, and there's NA East players playing this tournament on NA East, I believe, and that basically means that yeah, Mongrel and people like that are gonna be playing on high ping, and we'll see. I'm not sure if Mongrel's in there. I shouldn't speak without actually knowing,
He
but
is.
there's some big there. He is in there. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So yeah, it's kind of throwback to the summer skirmish vibes where everything was
Oh.
played on NA East, and there was even times where EU players came over and played on NA East. But
Yeah.
yeah. So just to reiterate, this is a $10,000 tournament, which literally just announced, like officially announced like 2-3 hours ago. For Saturday at what 4 p.m. Eastern. Am I correct in that show?
Say again.
4 p.m. Eastern is when it goes live.
I thought it was 1 p.m. PST, but we'll double check.
So 4 p.m.
So 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern.
Yes, sir.
Eastern's your time zone, dude. What are you doing out here?
I've been
This
talking
time
about,
menace.
I'm a West operative now, man. I've
Yeah.
transferred over to that coast. I swear to God.
No kidding. I'm excited. This is just 2 more back-to-back weekends of West taking home cups. Like, I'm stoked about that. I mean, the West invite list is crazy stacked. I'm excited. It's gonna be a blast, man. I'm excited to watch EU get dumpstered on. That's great. I'm all about the region rivalries. I love it. I love it with all my heart. So
I'm hyped for like this event with the observing team of the Prac server because just comparatively to like World Cup quals and stuff, it was like slightly better when we were looking at possible action early on, later on. I just want to see how it's played now when you have so many options from so many different places. I'm going to see what they can do as well as the players, as well as like obviously me and Monster, etc. But it's gonna be cool, an interesting like challenge in my opinion.
Yeah, that'll be entertaining.
The observing is so important. I actually don't think that like we'll have we've had or have an observing team that is as focused on like the competitive threads that like any other tournament has been. I think this is probably going to be the team with the most interest in that sort of thing. Whereas, other teams are, kind of focused on gameplay elements. They're focused on, big creators. They're focused on a broader stories and a bunch of broader themes. Whereas the Prac server guys, these guys are, I mean, I train these guys. I told these guys what to look for, Like they're looking for the.
I replanted them every other month, watered them every day, clipped the edges of the bonsai trees. These guys were molded by Balla. Fantastic. Well, I'm excited. It's gonna be a great event, and then of course, immediately following up is Anaheim. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about it throughout the rest of this evening. Okay. But Balla, we ready for our first caller?
I am. It's our good friend, Ulrich 8. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey everyone. I'm Ulrich. I'm calling all the way from the United Kingdom at 1:20 a.m. I'm a bit dreary. I've got a sleep schedule and not used to being up at this time. But today I'm going to be talking about the sanitization of esports and having Fortnite and having a really steaming hot take. So back in like the season 5 and 6 and 7 time, obviously Epic changed things a lot more than they do now. Whether that was adding their new piece of content every week or whether they just added things like the mechs and the sword. And right, let me get this straight right now. Mechs bad, sword bad. These ridiculous huge changes were really damaging. But on a smaller scale, Epic did things like adding a new mobility item or adding a new small weapon every week to change the game slightly and keep it interesting. And they put it directly into the competitive loot pool. And as competitive players, we all really hated this, but I think we completely underestimate how that actually in some ways benefited the game and made it more exciting. These challenges created storylines which kept competitive players on their feet, kept them grinding, kept them adapting to the meta, and also kept them producing content and having interesting things and interesting ways to change their game and change the meta. And now the meta's become quite stale, and I think that this is in many ways.
I don't like this. Ulrich. Ulrich, I don't like it at all.
Hang on. Made things less interesting for the vast majority of the player base, who I'm afraid don't quite have a deep interest in the intricacies of the game. Someone like Balla or someone like somebody's gun, who I know is in chat, has. And totally. I don't think this is necessarily been beneficial.
Well, let's talk about it. I think we get the gist of it here. Thank you, Ulrich. The argument basically is that without the constant changes, additions of new items and mechanics and stuff, the games become stale, right? And not as fun for the casual base, and that's ultimately detrimental for the whole game, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the gist of it, right? And I think that the two don't have to be connected, right? Like for the first time, we're seeing hints of a separated loot pool for competitive, right? Screw it. Bring planes, ballers, and mechs back all at once, and swords and lightsabers, all of it. If it's only in casuals,
don't do those
like,
things because those things are like the biggest drop in player base.
probably.
Like,
okay, yeah. I'm just saying, like they're completely free to like. I haven't been an advocate necessarily for the game needs to be simpler and there needs to be less stuff happening all the time just for competitive. You know what I mean? Like it just needs to be paced better and handled more carefully. Like I don't think that the two aren't like exclusive.
Don't update the game for like a day before a tournament. Like that's pretty much all we were asking that entire time. I don't like think, yeah, sure, we don't want dynamite in the game. We don't want boom boxes in the game. We don't want those kind of like, but like we can deal with some of the really cool stuff if it works in competitive. Some stuff just straight up doesn't work in competitive. Ballers, Infinity Blade, mechs, like none of this stuff. Well, mechs don't even work in the game at all, but like it can work in competitive to a certain extent. Like it just has to be slow rolled, like you're saying, Tim. But here's where I take issue with what you're saying, Ulrich, is that like you're acting like all of a sudden we have this stale state of the game based on competitive and it's still stale. But guess what, man? We haven't had any freaking tournaments in 3 months. Like, of course it's stale. Like, absolutely, of course it's stale. There's no reason for us to have any like none of these guys have been able to play a tournament and do the content that they, get views for, which is play freaking tournaments. They've been making box fight videos. Like, come on. Man.
That's a lot. That's 3 months of box fighting, man. That's a lot of box fighting. That's stale. You want stale? That shit is stale. Shyo, what do you think about this?
On the counter for freaking 3 months.
It's like from my perspective, like this is the biggest thing added, and when it comes to the casual player base, which enough people aren't really taking account of, was a new map. And these guys don't learn the game as fast as pros.
Yeah,
good players. They don't play the game as much like efficiently as fast as pros or good players. I guarantee up until January, there's still people, and I know people who are playing and discovering things about the map and still enjoying that new. When it comes to our side of things, when it comes to competitive tournaments and whatnot, the meta developments, like instead of, you mentioned it because I love watching this before, and it got kind of annoying because there's this thing called power creep, which basically happened with the updates.
Yeah,
just watching people adapt over and over and over again. You get to the point where a combat shotgun gets introduced.
Yeah,
then we're at the point of holy
drum guns.
What is going on? Yeah, drum guns, like
Riftigos.
Then it gets annoying. So there's that version of watching people and having fun, Ulrich, like 100%, which is like the mechs, like that type of adaptation. Then there's the King of the Hill structure, which is really fleshed out properly for people who are not like Balla, me, somebody's got the casual comp viewer, even the casual viewer. They're fleshed out in tournaments, which we don't have. When we don't have them, like, yeah, the more in-depth people get to look at the nuances of the top players, staying up top. You have to watch scrims to do that. Right now, I think the most interesting meta development is happening, and it's the hardest thing to choose from, which is the harpoon, the RPG, and the floppers. You can't have all three in your inventory. It's even more complicated than picking between the nerf combat, the pump, and the tac before. There are still huge meta changes going on because the meta is not changing, and that happens when a game plays for competitive, which it is right now. The unfortunate part where your opinion comes in, and I had the same opinion until I started watching more scrims. There's no tournaments to highlight that. There's no one making content, because there's no highlight clips of insane harpoon plays, etc., insane combinations of different meta weapons. I think that's the reason where this type of opinion comes out to fruition. But like at the moment, I like the way things are. I don't think they're stale. There's so much to learn about combinations and loadouts right now that change your game. We're in solos, which is the most RNG heavy thing.
Yeah.
Loadouts are like the main thing to control RNG, and no one's figured out loadouts yet. There is no OP loadout. Yeah. Floppers are OP.
Well, floppers, yeah.
Certain loadouts that are, no, they're OP, but there's certain loadouts where you can't hold floppers. Like it's bad to.
I would argue, I mean, we can get into this later, but I would argue that if your loadout is one where you can't hold floppers, it's a worse loadout. It's just not as good.
We'll argue it later 100%. I have to get over that hurdle because there literally are like I can get to a little bit, but we'll finish our topic first.
Mm-hmm.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Can I just make a point about what Shyo is saying? It's that The whole point about what Shai just said and explained really interestingly about how loadouts have become so important is what he said is a really fascinating and a really detailed piece of meta change. And this is great for people who are genuinely interested in the game. But the issue is it's not clickbaitable, it's not exciting. It's not
Sure.
exciting to a vast majority of the audience who won't suddenly be excited by the fact that certain players found a brilliant new way to use their loadout. And I think this can sometimes limit the way the game develops, particularly if we don't have a strong tournament structure to keep people incited instead and keep the game developing in that way. And that's
Okay.
being what's keeping people hyped for. So I think that's a real problem. I think the ideal solution, the ideal kind of piece in the middle of this is to have a really good tournament structure. So we can
Yeah.
have both. So people appreciate all this detailed analysis that Shai is doing and people
Mhm.
appreciate these meta changes more
Yeah,
than
yeah, I
what we
agree. I don't
currently
think
have.
the answer is to blame us, the competitive scene for demanding less ridiculous nonsense in the game. It's the blame is there's no events. Like that's where it's at. And you can't even necessarily say that casuals like pubs have been stale, right? There've been a ton of LTMs over the last 3 months. You had like Star Wars stuff going on for a long time. You had all the holiday event going on for a long time. Like I don't think the game as a whole has been stale. I think competitive has been stale, but
Casuals
only
love
in the
to-
format of no events.
Casuals and content creators love to scapegoat competitive for all their freaking
Problems.
woes in the game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, seriously. Like, all the freaking sweats, man. They're ruining my skill-based matchmaking experience. Like, oh, like, please, like,
Just
cry.
for the
Like,
record,
honestly.
comp players do it the other way as well. So much. Comp players are always blaming casual players, particularly
But-
prior to the separation.
but
Because
that
that's
is
been true.
Yeah.
I mean, all we have to do is point at
We're all
mechs and
comp
stuff.
players. We're all comp players. Of course we're saying this.
Well, but I mean, like it's objectively true. All we have to look back to is my favorite epic communication of all time, Fortnite and the Brute, where they said, bad players are getting more kills. That's what we want. We're not changing the mech. So like the statement from the competitive side saying casuals, like the casual desire, and less, it's not a casual player's fault, right? It's Epic's fault for how they decided to run the game during that time period, to cater in that way, right? Like how they did it, well, I think is inappropriate and not well. And we see that by the fact that they immediately nerfed the mech after saying they wouldn't. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're all mostly in agreement. I just took offense at the beginning of your take, Ulrich.
That was
Yeah, it was
what
definitely
made it so
steamy.
exciting. That's why it's steaming hot.
It was steaming hot. Thank you so much for coming on Hotline FM, man. I hope you have a fantastic
Thank you for
evening.
having me.
Get some rest.
All right,
I will. Good night.
Bye. Beautiful, beautiful.
Boom.
First caller done. We're
Alright.
rolling on this show here. Guys, remember, exclamation point Hotline FN in the chat. Join the Discord. Bring your take. Let's get you rolling in here. Let's get people moving in and out. Let's answer some topics. Roll on some takes. It's gonna be great. We got our next caller in. Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Gavin CMD, and I am from Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus,
This name's
Ohio.
Way too close.
I know, right?
This name is way too close. What is this? Timmcd, Gavin CMD.
Tim
I
CMD.
promise.
I'm changing my name now.
I didn't know I didn't know who you were till like maybe a couple months ago. Not gonna lie.
I didn't know who I was till a
I
couple
got
months
this
ago.
for a long time, dude.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not upset about it. What did you want to talk about?
Okay, so after the winter DreamHack 2019, we saw a lot of people boasting about like the 1 point per placement. Now, in theory, that seems really good at first. But when you start to think about it, it really just rewards people for being like consistently average.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. This is an interesting take, right? Because the idea is if you're awarding flat, we've talked about it before on the show about how, like, or at least I think, Balla, you agreed with me. I've even mentioned that I would prefer to see a point per placement and then handling kills as well, over thresholds. But you're right? Because if you get top 50 every game, that's 50 points every game. Like, the difference between that level of consistency versus like the extra 25 points of ending in the top 25, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think you're right that like you start to see the top of a leaderboard there. The only differentiation becomes how much you can slay out, and getting a top 50 and treating it like a cash cup. Like, we'll watch Unknown Army and Wavy
think-
Jacob do that all day. Like,
we move past that type of threshold or that type of point placement format now, though, right? Because it starts at top 50 for those points to be handed
Exactly.
out in DreamHack. So, granted, that did award, I would say, mediocrity between 100th to 50th place because you're not involved with too much.
Yeah.
The server getting to 50 people happens like 20 minutes into the game. So to make it that point, then you actually have to fight for your place. Makes sense for a point replacement because, or right now in DreamHack, it's more than just 1 point and a little bit heavier when you go all the way up to first.
Yeah.
Elims are 1 point, which is kind of interesting because on paper, it feels like you're not actually getting anything for an elimination, but you further your placement points. So one Elim, even though it's giving you 1 point, gives you like 6 total because it guarantees you another placement slot after top 50. So to delve the conversation,
it's 5 points, I think, in DreamHack format, right?
Per different placement. I thought all the way up to
per
first.
Elim.
No, it's 1.
No, I don't think so. I think it's, I don't know. Regardless, there's some amount per Elim.
Each kill netting.
True.
It's 5 extra points.
It is 5? Interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? About the DreamHack format versus anything else. I agree. There are flaws, but like it is way better than the thing that we have now, is thresholds placements where you can get, you could get 6th place and miss out on a whole bunch of points in comparison. Like in the ratio, sure, it's only 3 points in that format, but in DreamHack, it would have only been like missing out on 1 point out of, basically a 60-point game.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why like that helps so much in terms of making sense to the viewer, right? Okay. And also avoiding these dog schmeat situations where you have a player who goes out in 99th or 98th with 1 kill, right? He goes out very, very early with 1 kill, gets more points than the guy who made to 26th,
Yeah.
Like that is important, I think. I think that is so wrong. I think that is fundamentally just disgusting to see in a competitive game where somebody makes it way further in a battle royale and still could have less points because of the threshold.
Yeah. And to kind of connect what Shyo was saying with Gavin's take in another way, right? If it's points for first all the way through 100th, I could totally see the argument for it rewarding like mediocrity, essentially, right? Being average. The case that it starts after 50 changes that. But also what you have to consider is the caliber of the lobbies. Awarding points at 50th placement in a cash cup is going to skew how those are played very differently from awarding at 50th points.
It did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you know that 50th place, your first chance at getting points is going to be like minimum third zone closing, like minimum, you know what I mean? Versus in a cash cup, it's like I could get that by the 5-minute mark, you know what I mean? It's very different.
Before first zone starts moving, like
exactly, right? And so it would be interesting to see if that format would even work in that kind of a setting, right? Like how would it affect how people play? Well, how would it affect how people play?
That's the important part too. Is like the whole point is like it changes how people play too, right? For if I was to implement in cash cups, it's not necessarily for the consistency factor or the threshold, like breaking the threshold, but it's also to influence how people play, right? I want people to constantly know that they're getting placement points the entire game. So it's optimal for them to just not die at all and continue taking very, very safe fights, because I want to de-incentivize the crazy risky W King. I want to incentivize fighting, which by the way, this also does, but I don't want to incentivize people to be like, crazy W King into people's box because it's not worth it, right? So why disincentivizes fighting? Because it's not as risky with higher placement thresholds being there, right? If you die, it's not the end of the world. You still probably got a couple placement points. Yeah, might have gotten a limb or two, and you could just go to the next game, and you're not completely out of it because of that. So I think there's pros and cons to both, but yeah, I agree. Mediocrity, sure, whatever. I'd rather this than something else, though.
Well, yeah, I don't think the system does. I don't think the system as described for DreamHack does reward mediocrity, especially given the caliber of the lobbies. I think that what we had talked about before about rewarding a point from 100th up to first could. So I think we're in the clear from that worry here with DreamHack.
Especially too, I think one thing that people miss when they look at the DreamHack format and they say, "Oh, this is bad," is that it raises, right? you get 50th, you only get 1 point. But after 25th or whatever, I don't know the exact numbers, you get 2 points. And after 10th, you get 3 points, and so on and so forth. So once you get first, it's not the gap between second and first is not 2 points or 1 point like we thought. It's more like 8 points or something like that. That's how, at least that was at ESL. And that's more optimal, right? Obviously, that is not awarding mediocrity.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a fine take, but I think that DreamHack's gonna push us in a direction that will solve the potential issue. Gavin, thanks so much for bringing this topic. It was great to talk about.
No problem, man. Take care. Have a great day. Doing the rest of the stream, man.
Too. Reorder your CMD. I mean, it's just the only way to be super fly, you know. Have a good night.
Take care, man.
Shyo, here's something interesting I was just thinking about while we were talking about that, right? And it's a little more meta and not particularly useful conversation. But
Right.
So for the longest time, we'll see how things go with this new season, right? For the longest time, Epic was trying to force their idea of what a competitive Fortnite would look like, while all the players who were playing competitively were pushing something else. But I don't think I think that happened more naturally than just players forcing something that Epic didn't want. So for example, I would like to predict that what Epic wanted for competitive Fortnite was for top 20 to be in 4th zone, maybe, and it to be a bunch of 1v1s happening in different points of the map. The problem is the map and the items and the way the game works means that that's stupid and risky and like will never work out well. Like the game just wasn't designed for that to be the optimal way to play, right? So instead you get people boxing up, playing for late game, we get the moving zones and things push in that direction, right? When Chapter 2 first launched, I was a little worried that they were going to try and make major game changes to push the game back to how they maybe had originally seen competitive flowing. You know, changes to the map where sections are more cordoned off, where players have less of opportunity to third party. And instead, we saw an even more open map in most regards, right? So kind of just thinking back on that in my head while we were talking to Gavin, I'm pretty, I don't know, it just kind of got me more stoked on the announcements coming next week, right? Like I don't know, they could have taken Chapter 2 as an opportunity to say, no, we're taking it all back and doing exactly what we wanted all along. And so far it's felt like it's been a little more like, okay, like this is what's happening. Okay, we'll roll with it now.
Well, the coolest story from like a BR perspective, like if you get down to the top 20 situation in 4th zone that early, that means that like the game is ending where it's like a squad versus a squad that's kind of easily followable and clarity trackable in a sense, right?
Yeah.
If you're going for that route, which you say, or you thought that they would be. For me, it's like, I don't think they ever wanted it to go in a specific direction. I think it's rather just not wanting it to go in other ones, like the heal game meta. You know, breaking builds was like a huge thing there because I think the biggest issue with Fortnite in the early days is that once you got a position, it was very easy to just hold that position, right?
Yeah.
Especially when moving zones weren't even a thing. Sometimes it was due to RNG, but certain teams would just like straight up get cucked and there was like nothing they could do. Nowadays, it's a lot more freeform. Things are always changing. There's always new strats. But like compared to other games, I think Fortnite's still the one where sometimes it's just a little bit hard to follow like a team versus another team the whole time. I'm not sure if it's because of how end games work. But there's never that final, you know, showdown you can track the whole way. Some games it does happen.
Yeah, but not often.
But not often. Yeah.
Which is fine. Like I'm fine with that. I love how the rest of the matches play out, right? But I can understand, of course, why Epic would have wanted that. You know what I mean?
I think it's like the players were basically water, and they kind of just wanted to control the shape and of the jar the water was in, but didn't really like, you know,
but they're not that good of potters. Yeah, they're not that good of a potter. Like they maybe wanted a vase that was like this, but they kept fucking it up, and it became like this weird misshapen thing from like a high schooler's first attempt, right? Like, and they're like, all right, okay, fine.
And not that good at metaphors either. Jesus Christ, guys.
I think we're killing it, Shyo. I don't know about this guy. Balla, are we ready for our next caller?
Yeah, we are. And I do want to actually say, guys, please keep calling. We need more people to call in, more topics, more unpopular opinions. And if you see me go out, I'm screening our callers. If I'm not talking on the screen, even though I'm making hand motions and stuff, that's why. But yeah, we do have our next caller.
He gets more animated in these one-on-one conversations than he does like with us with the whole show. So I mean, if you're just looking for some sweet one-on-one time with lovely Balla and his cat Kita that just walked by, you know what to do. You know how to get there. All right, we got next caller in. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Ballatw. I'm calling from the UK.
From the UK, the one and only.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
the UK.
What do you want to talk about tonight, Voxfy?
So I've been playing competitive scrims in EU, season 6. And I believe the current meta, it emphasizes RNG more than ever, especially solos. And I feel like we've had solo cash cups the past few months. And I believe if solos is gonna be the main game mode for season 2, I feel like it's just gonna kill off competitive. I don't know about you, but like I personally don't like the game being stale. I know a lot of people say, it does make the game less RNG being stale, but I remember Fortnite being a game, it was like a fast battle royale. Nowadays when you watch it, it's near as boring as things like PUBG. If you remember back, like the Metro play with the shockwave.
Hold on a sec. What have you watched recently?
You watching fashion shows, my brother? What's going on here?
Drip or drown, baby.
I'm curious. Like, call out the streamer who's playing the slowest game possible. Like, what are you actually watching in terms of Fortnite? I'm curious.
No, like I feel like it's like with the rotation, like with mats, I feel like the game's just very like sloppy. Where back when there was lots of mobility, the likes of Metro using that shockwave play, the likes of Savage using the shadow bomb going up the mountain, like things like that is what made the game interesting.
It's flashy
just
stuff, yeah.
I would
Yeah,
argue
like-
the flashy stuff is slower than the meta that we have now because these guys would just wait in the same box 24/7, not gathering info, and then just using their mobility. And yeah, that mobility in the moment seems speedy. Double jump to this. I'm a shadow boy. Yeah, like that's cool. But like we never saw those guys that were just sitting in boxes. Like nowadays, you can follow and see the mind of someone waiting for their tarp to start out and doing the tarp and all the issues that come with rotating in a circle with no mobility. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. I'm also just wondering, obviously Fortnite this season, like Epic have been very quiet with us, not really giving us much information. I'm kind of just wondering what's your kind of take, coming into season 2 here, the new engine's getting introduced. Do you reckon it's going to play a big part? Like we've obviously seen the videos of how the buildings and things are going to be changing the whole dynamic of it. Do you think
that's rumors? Like
Yeah.
The
those
engine's
are
already
rumors.
been implemented. It's in the game. It's the source of a lot of the recent bugs from the last patch, right? So
No, it's
Yeah.
the assets are in, but it's not fully utilized until the update comes.
Well,
out.
no, you don't
is
know
that what they're
that.
saying?
You don't know that.
I don't know.
No, you don't know that. You have no clue. I think that's pure conjecture.
Yeah. Let's focus on the first part. Let's focus on the first part of Voxfy 6. I still want to talk about this more.
Here's something I agree with out of what you're saying, Voxfy. It's that solos and duos to a certain extent. Like to be honest, I don't think it works with the current meta. And I've been saying this a lot on Twitter. I'm not sure if this is where you were going with this, but the current meta with no mobility and no like ways to extend your game besides get impact frags is kind of not working in stacked solos games. And I'm sure, I think, Shai, we've already argued about this a little bit, but I just don't think that a stacked game that will happen at DreamHack, that happened at AO, actually produces the winner. So you're saying it's more RNG, and I kind of agree for solos and to a certain extent duos. Yeah, because there's just simply not enough mats to last towards the end of the game, and there's nothing that you could use once you have your mats, right? So I like to actually kind of like break everything down into basically being like all the resources and all the things in the game are a pool of resources that's basically your health, right? And mats is extra health. Your mobility is extra health because you're not spending mats and you're not getting shot at the same time, So like, without those things, I don't think there's enough to last an entire stacked endgame. I just don't think there's enough.
I think it's interesting because there's a lot in this season, Chapter 2, Season 1, Season 11, whatever, that objectively limit RNG in ways we've never seen before in this game. From upgrading to fishing, these sorts of things, right? But the things that are still like weird and bad about this season, I think disproportionately affect solos more than most other game modes, right? Like rocket launchers, sniper rifles, all these sorts of things. they make solos feel worse than larger team modes. And I am a big proponent of, pardon my French, but fuck sniper rifles. And like our RPGs are an interesting point of debate as well. But I think that I agree that solos isn't like, I don't love solos. I've never particularly loved solos, but especially right now, I'm just too social of a guy to really like have a lot of fun in solos personally. But I think that there could still be changes made to the game, just a couple key areas that would make solos feel less RNG heavy and be more interesting than they are currently. I don't even think they'd necessarily be like had to be like massive game changing things, right? Like increase mat cap, do something about things like sniper rifles, give more ways like upgrading and fishing to limit how RNG affects the individual. So I don't want solos to be the next competitive season, and I don't think they will be, but I think that they could be, and they could do it well, and it wouldn't have this negative effect on the scene that you're hypothesizing.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've always, as a comp player, I've always enjoyed team games a lot more than solos, and I feel, although I don't mind solos, if it was to be solos next season, the whole mobility issue, although it's ideal to have mobility end game, I feel especially in solos with the likes of controller players now that have linear mid game fights, early to mid game sort of like rotations. If you're getting beaten by a controller player, things like a launch pad or shockwave would be ideal to get out of situations. I feel that's where solos is sort of.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna move on to the next caller. Thank you very much for bringing this topic, but I would say that launch padding away from Legacy aim assist is not something I ever wanted to have to do in this video game right now. That sounds like a death sentence and a half, baby. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Voxby. Thanks so much. I hope you have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, no, a lot of people are saying launch pads. Launch pads are cool. They're fun. They solve a lot of problems, but damn, does that sound more dangerous than ever right now?
The best thing, which I think wasn't implemented properly, were the slipstreams. I thought they were a bit too accessible and a bit too big and controlled the whole game. Like there was no ground game anymore. We were Fortnite Infinite Warfare. But
Yeah.
the coolest thing about them,
that's a great.
There's natural, literally, there's natural mobility that ends up turning off.
Yeah.
And then you can play the, where you're meant to play. Like you can control everything to the point where you're being very resourceful, and then everything's on the line. But
it creates.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, like, I know you're a League of Legends player. What's up? It's not Hotline without mentioning League, and what it does.
I don't think
what,
we've
part
done
of
a single episode
part of
mentioning League.
Part of what makes League of Legends.
I legitimately don't think we've done that.
Part of what makes League of Legends a great spectating thing is that it's got a story. Every game's got a story, right? There's a very clear, you can tell, like, this is early game. Oh, now we're in mid game. Oh, now we're in late game, like so on and so forth, right? And I think that things like Slipstream really help sell that story throughout the course of a game, right? The game plays and feels very differently in the early and mid game. In the early game, when people are mostly constrained to their loot paths and their POIs, and then in the mid game where people are using things like slipstreams and vehicles, and in the late game when all that turns off and you've got this new game happening, right? Like, yeah, I think that's super valuable and not necessarily something we have a lot of right now.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest fix of the mobility problem is literally just geyser-like type of things early game, teleporters, launch pads, rifts, whatever, that are non-accessible after 5th zone or 4th zone, and we're fine. Like that is.
You remember the Wailing Woods rifts? The infinite rifts, and like the teleporters there.
Yep,
those were sick.
Wasn't that the coolest thing? And you know what's sad? We never got an event where we got to watch that shit.
Yeah.
We never got an event where we got to watch that.
There was an event in the ground in Wailing for like 9 seasons.
Yeah,
and never did anything.
They never did anything.
Exists actually at the top side of the map on an island. Like, where's the lore, man? I know where it's populated, but my Visitor Skin Andy.
Where's my competitive lore?
Where is my boy, bro? He like changed the map and he's gone.
Yeah,
dad type beat. Like,
I'm sure we'll see him back in season 2. I'm sure that we'll see some more of that storyline development. Balla, are we ready for the next caller?
Yeah. I always act like I'm not ready. Like I'm always ready.
No, I know you're ready. I know you're ready. I'm just making sure everybody else knows you're ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm lifting you up over here. Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, I'm Deester and I'm calling from Scotland, United Kingdom.
Wow.
It's like 150, yeah, but it's chilling.
Well, thanks for staying up for us. What
right.
do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so what I was gonna say is that okay, so now that the game is 2 years old, people have had a lot of time to get better, with most comp players having around like 2,000 hours in the game. So I think the meta is going to become more instinctual and reaction based because we as players have been in both situations in a fight as an attacker and a defender like many times. So we know what kind of edits and stuff are generally going to go into play, and things like pre-fires have been shown early by players like Mitro and Anas. And I think along with that, I think a lot of people are going to be changing their sensitivities as well, like because we saw the uprise of high sensitivity with Benji Fishy and his like cash cub role, but I mean now that launch pads and more of a CS:GO type feel where it's there's a lot more time for the meta hasn't changed in a while basically. I think people are going to be going low sense to hit a lot more shots basically. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you said you think the game's going to be played more instinctually and reactionarily. Versus what? Like, how do you think the game's being played right now if it's not those things?
Oh well, I mean, obviously there's two different games going on within the game. There's the early and mid game, which is more get your loot, and then you've got end game, which is more tactical. Obviously in early and mid game, it's always been reaction and instinctual based, but I think more and more players are getting to the point of their skill curve where they can incorporate, advanced techniques into end game without like choking. So I think, especially within like fights, you're going to have to if you make an edit like the top corner edit that everyone makes, it's it's like very predictable. So you're looking at me and
Mostly I was waiting for Balla to catch on.
Balla's out here summoning jutsuing, bro. We're trying to be like, what is this? Come on, man.
Okay, yeah. I think first I want to, just because I'm pedantic as hell, I want to say that you said the game would be played more reactionary, and then you talked about pre-editing or pre-firing, which is the opposite of reaction-based play. Because that's not a reaction, right? Like that's a pre-fire by definition is not a reaction.
You got to think one layer past, if you're pre-editing, you're already thinking a layer ahead, so boom, think about that.
Yeah, that's thinking. That's not a reaction. Anyway,
reaction.
That doesn't matter.
Thinking, bro. I'm literally 3 levels ahead of them. Come on, man.
I'm reacting to you by being three levels ahead. I love it. Yeah, I think that, pre-firing, I don't know. I think that it's something that has become more viable, especially with the changes to how the wall replace timer works, where before, if you shot someone's wall while they were still prepared to hold it,
true.
Yeah, they would just hold the wall and nothing would happen. But now, even with the slowest of ARs, you're guaranteed at least one bullet to get through. If they make an edit and it's low on hit points, all you have to do is keep your crosshair trained on their forehead, and you're going to get damage through, right? Through this form of pre-firing at a wall that you're expected to be edited, right? So I agree with that. I think that's sort of like something that has emerged since season 10 with the change to the way the wall replace goes. I don't know if it's some like massive change in the way the game is played. It's just like a new tool, right? Another tool in the tool belt.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But like I feel like a lot of players have had that outlook on it until now, but I mean, something I've realized is that I've been incorporating it into my gameplay a lot because one of my friends has just been abusing it so much against me. I get triggered every time I fight him because obviously I get him low, I'm chasing him, and no matter what situation it is, he can he realizes what I'm going to do to double him and shoots me. So it's like you can really pre-fire in any scenario if you realize what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I really think that if more people like realize that, hey, I can shoot this shot like half a second earlier, they'll get in damage that will win them the game. The fight. Sorry, I don't know how to explain that well.
No, yeah.
Um,
I don't know, Shao. What do you think about this?
What's the bottom line opinion? Because I feel like I just went through a maze and I don't know where I am. So give me the bottom. Like summarize it in
Bottom
one
line up
sentence.
front.
That's what I'm
Give
trying
us
to
the
say.
bluff. Yeah.
Give me the
Okay.
one sentence hit.
Bottom line opinion, I feel like the fights are going to become a lot more like chess from now on. You know, it's just
Fights
going to
have
be a
been
lot
chess,
more.
my man. That's my thing. We've been, and I guess since like I'm not trying to, SMD over here, but like when you analyze and look at these top level, looking at Tim's eyes. When you analyze and look at these top level fights, it's been chess for a couple of seasons. Like, Balla not hinted at it, but talked about, Tim, we're already looking at 2 steps ahead on the pre-fight. Everything's reactionary based. Just going up to a dude's wall, you're already thinking about all the moves being played. What you're saying in a sense is, yeah, that's happening, is going to be happening. The effects of it happening on lower and middle tier players, like that's where things start to get interesting, right? That's where more people will start to stay alive. Or you could say the opposite way, if fights are getting smarter, they can be ending faster. That's where lobby sizes get cut down. But that's where most of the effects should be studied in a sense, if it could be. On the top level, it's been like that for a while. It's why we have people that can disengage. The biggest issue with that type of fight style is that when people don't know how to do that, it seems like if you get shot, you need to, like, that is the end of your game now. You have to get past this wall. You have to either kill or die or your game's over. People don't know that there's a move called I leave, goodbye. And until that happens, until chess hits everyone, we're going to be in this checkers format. People won't be jumping everywhere. It's going to be chaos.
That is a great. I love that, Shio. That's an awesome way to put it. And Duster, I hope I'm saying your name right. First off,
yeah, it's a Deester, but yeah, I mean it's close enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
Deester. No, I'd rather say it right. I think that's a great way of putting it, Shio, because Deester, I don't mean to like downplay you. Like, I'm not an incredible player by any means. But I do think there's this portion of like, yeah, this has been happening. Just to reiterate, Shio, like, this has been happening already, and just more and more people have been given the time to kind of to catch up, right, and to realize this for themselves. A lot of content's been coming out that's helpful. To get on that level and be able to recognize that level of play already as it is. I don't know. Do you feel like we're still not getting it?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It would have been a lot better if I came more prepared with like videos and stuff. Because, I mean, obviously I get what you're saying, but I mean, if I had to go with your analogy, I'd have to say for like top level play. I mean, I think now it's moving from chess to 3D chess. Honestly, I think we're going to see that jump in skill as more people figure out. Because people have been boss fighting for 3 months. We've had a lot of conversation about how the game's been so stale for this long, and all we've done is boss fight.
I disagree.
So, well,
anyways, just for the record.
Yeah, I think it's a hard conversation to have without clear examples of what 3D chess is compared to regular chess, right? Is it just people are now like utilizing phase tricks more often and doing things like super crouching and that kind of thing? Because I don't know if that's that'd be I don't know.
It's more. I don't know. I think it's better to leave it for now. I'll probably come back in like 2 weeks or something with a full presentation.
You come back with it. Deester, send me clips. We'll show clips on the show, and we'll get into this. Let's do it.
Will we? Do we have the capability to do that?
I have the capability to do anything, Balla.
Oh, damn. All right.
Just gotta use some logic. All right. Okay, Deester, I'm really interested in this. I'm sorry that we couldn't come to a satisfactory agreement on that. I think that we just need some examples and stuff. But thank you for bringing it, and I am excited to continue the conversation.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for your time. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Yeah. I just don't know. Right to the next one. All right. Next caller. We're ready to go. Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Colpers, and I'm calling from California. I just pretty much had a question. I know I was talking about it with Balla in the deck room or whatever, but this is more advice, but also it made me think about another section about like griefing and everything. But basically my question is, well, my statement is I'm going to DreamHack Anaheim, and I'm an average player, whatever, just a normal comp player without a following or anything.
Don't sell
And-
yourself short, man. Come on, you're
I
going
mean,
to Anaheim. I'm going to
I'm going-
only land in the past
I
6
know,
months. Let's go. I'm a beast. Let's go.
I'm ready, but I'm just like, so the thing that got me thinking in the waiting room was we were talking about how I was concerned with landing at, because I plan on landing at Misty Meadows, and Rex, Epic Whale, Ghost Bizzle, 40R Storm, and whoever else decides to come there will be landing there. But on their Twitters, on their socials, they post, "Oh, I'm going to land here. Don't contest me, whatever." And obviously, if you're smart, you're not going to land where Rex, one of the best players in the West Coast, is going to be landing because you don't want to die out spawn.
You're doing
Are
it
you
again,
saying?
man.
Are you saying you're not smart? Yeah. Hold up.
Dude,
Hold
why
up.
are you going- listen, bro.
We're not gonna let you put yourself down on our show. Damn it.
Bro, land mentality, my friend. You cannot be at a land and be scared of the other man's there. You are now on their level. This is like everyone's at 0, and we just got to.
There's no clout. There's no clout off the battle bus.
Is as big as yours. His guns are hopefully going to be the same as yours off spawn.
That's
I
it.
think you get
That's
better
it.
guns. Like,
That's it. If I make it a finals and Rex is there, I'm going for a pickaxe first round. I'm joking. Okay, but seriously, my real question is: all these pros and everything are posting on Twitter on their socials that they have these certain spots that, like, this is my area, this is where I'm going to land, and obviously there's already more than enough people landing at Misty, and I just don't want to be. I mean, my question is, what would be my best move to sort of set my territory in like open heat and semis? And then also the thing that I was thinking about was, if I do contest these people and I do kill them and I do win, which I plan on doing, like I don't get considered a griefer, or they're like, oh, like why is this kid like just
Don't care about that.
I know, I'm just saying, but
bullshit, bro.
I care about my like reputation in the community. I don't want to be like because these are people like I look up to. Like I take
see,
skill.
You said it right there. It's your reputation.
Yeah.
Right. It's your thing that you are building. What other people think will not. If you operate off of them, it is no longer your reputation. It's their story through you, in a sense. You got to basically do what you do, put it out there. People will listen. If they don't, win more and make them. That's what people do. If Young Calc can get fans, literally anyone can. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. You just have to win enough to the point and be consistent enough and good enough to the point that people fuck with you, bro. Part of my French as well. Not bad, Tim. You know, I'm not sure how many of these F-bombs we have per
I don't care.
hotline.
I don't care.
But
I think my dad watches sometimes. Sorry, Dad.
Oh, true. But when it comes to like developing confidence and like these questions about how do I play early, how do I play late, how do I play mid, don't worry about the repertoire and the reputation of the players coming with you. Think about more like statistic based, like quantitative thoughts. Like how many people are actually landing here? What is my survival rate based on like, you know, the common things, not like the specific things, like how good this player is or his history, right? Like treat every player as a player model, right? I don't care who they are, and operate that way. Is Misty the best spot for, you know, early quals when a lot of people will be landing there? I don't know. If it's one person landing there late, I can handle that, right? That's how you should be thinking, rather than, oh crap, you know, Rex is landing here very late. Like, I don't know if I can handle that. It's not Rex. It's a dude with a pickaxe trying to find chests.
It's another
right?
Fortnite player, yeah.
Yeah, it's another Fortnite player. So think about it that way. You are sitting amongst 500 people at Dreamhack. It's going to be stanky. I'm going to have my phone behind you, passing your games, hopefully end game. Like, get your shit together, perform, make fans, do it multiple times. You now have a career. Congratulations. There you go.
It's any other game. Like, don't forget, like, there's a possibility that you don't even get any games with Rex until the finals. Like, that's a thing that could happen. And you also have to understand, these guys are good. They're not going to be doing stupid stuff off of spawn either. Like, if they see 4 people landing with them, they're going to take a house and they're going to try to leave. They're not going to be fighting. Like, you know?
Exactly. That was probably the main thing I was concerned about. Just making sure like we each have our own league, because I know I mean I saw the winter VODs and I saw everything. Like Misty is always stacked, and I just wanted to make sure I was able to like set my own territory. But I mean, you are right. It's not like I'm playing a damn cash game where kids just don't know what they're doing. Everyone's gonna play smart and go for it.
Well, I get it. Like on Twitter, there's so many posts, there's so many VOD reviews that so many people do after the fact. I think people forget that there's in-game information available once you're out of the bus. You can see, map out your stuff. A majority of what you're going to be deciding in the game is not going to be done from some random, you know, VOD review you saw like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The game's coming out. You know what I mean? But like, it's going to be based on where the zone is, where people are around you. Play the game, man. Just play the game.
Yeah, I think I want to bring in what Caster said too, right? Where it can be clever to think like, oh, like I want to like study Rex and how he plays and what he's going to do so I can beat him when he does show up with me. But in a format where it's open quals straight into the finals, like you just don't know who's going to show up and you can't study 10,000 players to make those sort of informed decisions. So your own headspace is going to be way more valuable. On the flip side, when it's something like World Cup and you've got a month to practice against 100 known players, yeah, then those things start making more sense. And you can say like, I just can't beat Rex, I'm going to drop somewhere else. Whereas in this sort of format, that doesn't necessarily make sense, right? So, yeah, I'm totally with Shyo and Balla on that one.
I guess it is. I mean, you are right though. It's just easier to focus on yourself and I guess just worry about, like you said, the in-game information because you are right. The VODs like won't necessarily. They can only do so much, like you're saying. But I mean, I guess that was pretty much it. Just making sure I could do all of that. But also, I have a really quick question. I know you guys said you're going to be there in person. I was wondering if you guys had any information on a stream, like how you guys did like a third-party stream with War Legends or whatever happened with that. If you guys had any information on that.
Yeah. So Shyo and I are going there, and we will do whatever we can to bring the best coverage that we can. We'll be walking around with our phones, walking around with our laptops, like our cameras. We're trying to do whatever we can, bro. We haven't really figured it out yet. Who knows if it's gonna work? But we're going, so we'll figure something out.
I love this.
All good. I appreciate everything though, guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the question.
Thanks so much.
Topic.
Have a great night.
See you, DreamHack. I'm taking a picture with you, Balla. I'll see you guys.
I like it. I like it. Yo, will you guys
fuck Shyo? Get fucked. Let's go.
I hope Rex
fucking
beats
dusted
the shit out of Pope's. Holy shit! I hope Rex gets the freest 50 ever.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
I mean, yeah. So I was thinking like, oh, people are gonna post this clip and they're gonna at Bizzle, they're gonna at Rex, they're gonna at all these people. They're gonna be like, Hotline HLFN is trying to convince people to agree with your game. And we're like, we could just clap back to the opposite.
Yeah, we're trying to give pots, man. We're just out here trying to give pots. No. Hey, I want to reiterate again. We got room for some more topics, right? Exclamation point Hotline FN or exclamation point HLFN in the chat. Join the Discord. Bring your take. Not a question, a take. Bring it in. Shyo, something I know you've been wanting to talk about, brother. S&D, Search and Destroy, creative tournaments. Balla, welcome back. We're talking about Search and Destroy now.
Oh, are we?
We are.
Pull another caller.
Oh, we are. Yeah. We are talking about S&D.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about it, Shyo? What's on your heart when it comes to S&D, brother?
Listen, man, unpopular opinion.
So bad. No,
I disagree. I disagree.
This is why I don't get it. Because like we have a game that has bloom. We have a game that has bloom. We have a game that has building. We have building, which is like the coolest thing that I've ever seen in a game since forever. Like since like the portal mechanic in Portal. Like that's how freaking cool building is. And all of a sudden, we're trying to play Counter-Strike. And as somebody who's played Counter-Strike for 15 years, let me just say, I love Counter-Strike. It's the best game of all time. Easily, hands down. Hands down. But this ain't it, Chief. What are we doing?
This is not the point of it, though. Like, it's off season, right? I get it. We want BR. I want BR. My mom wants BR, all right? Like, it's just like, I'd rather have S&D as a thing than Junkyard Juke. Like that's where I am, and S&D is so much cooler than like any if there are going to be supplementary modes comparatively to all these other modes. And like I guess I have a bias because when I played it, I mentioned it before. I played this shit for like literally 6 to 12 hours a day for the first 5 days it was out. It was amazing because it was like something I was familiar with a mode that I love from a lot of other games. Now, yes, there is a flaw, and the only flaw for me is like the shooting mechanic. But that's a big flaw. I know it's a big flaw. I get that. The one thing the game mode needs is a pull. The perfect pull would be a different type of shooting mechanic in the game, right? And that pull, if you had the capability of doing that, that could open up capabilities for doing stuff in BR as well, where we could change gun spawn rates, where we could, it could be a huge advancement included in S&D to pull towards that, at the same time help BR as well. But like to make like a backup mode in a sense, like
that is so pie in the sky. We're pushing S&D because we want a new shooting mode.
No, I'm just saying that like it could be.
That's never gonna happen, bro. That's never gonna happen. I'm sorry, but it's never gonna happen. We're not getting bloom removed from the game.
I mean, okay, it
That's never gonna
might, right? And if S&D is the catalyst for that to happen, great. And like Shyo, I agree. I would rather have search and destroy events than have streamers building the Eiffel Tower and like doing grappling challenges and stuff. Yeah, 100%. Of course, I agree with that.
Yes.
I don't particularly love the S&D, and most of it is because of shooting mechanics. It's just I don't have a lot of fun like shooting a gun that's not a shotgun in AR in Fortnite. Is like some of the least fun I have while playing Fortnite. So like S&D isn't like that. That doesn't appeal that much to me, right? But I think it's fine. I think it's fine to have it. I think that like, correct me if I'm wrong, Balla. You think it's an upgrade?
Yeah, because last year we had like literally 7 weeks of no one even watching these trick shot qualifiers.
Oh yeah, It's an upgrade to the
upgrade to the game.
Yeah, it's a direct upgrade to the previous creative, avenues. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that.
That's what we should be comparing it to, not BR.
Okay.
And it's not going to take the space of BR because we had like, literally.
All right, but still, let's continue. Like I still got takes, bro, because I really don't think this is the right time to be doing this. Like
I can agree with
they
that.
should be like. Bro, I'm sorry, but it's been 7 months since the last major LAN that Epic has put on.
Yeah, but like, what you want the creative team to start throwing like just like
no.
Okay. This is
no,
Twitter,
but this is the comp team. We're running
yeah,
events and
this is the issue
that's
that
true.
I think
that's true.
They announced it like the next announcement that we had was on Fortnite comp and it was about S&D. I think that missed the mark. Like, I don't think it should have been from that Twitter per se. Maybe if it was on FN Creative, it might have been taken a little bit better, and everyone's opinion about it coming through would have been a bit better. But having it as the forefront for comp, definitely not the way.
Yeah, I think that's basically my whole thing because I honestly like these S&Ds slightly more than the other S&Ds that the community's been playing because there's at least 2 builds involved in it. You can buy more builds. I think that's a really cool concept. And I think that is what the game mode needs because like it's Fortnite and again, there's no point in creating a mode that is not different from something else, especially if you're pushing it as the coolest thing that Fortnite creative competitively can do, like that's where I'm struggling so much with it. But I like it. I like that there's S&D in the game and people who want to play S&D and want to play Fortnite and want to play it for free because there's a lot of S&D games that are not for free. It's cool. It's another cool little pastime, but definitely that's the point I think, Shyo, that you made more eloquently than I did, which is it shouldn't have been pushed from the competitive avenues.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people,
that just
like,
hurts.
with like asking for communications and a lot of silence, it was like a spit in the face to like a lot of people who are really hungry for like a competitive event. Because like that's what we were expecting.
Have we even
stuff's running around?
Have we even gotten an official like competitive announcements come February 20th?
Announcement for an announcement. So we have February 20th and we have Anaheim.
No, have they like guaranteed like competitive updates February 20th?
I swear they said in the article that February 20th was the day.
No, that's the new season. They didn't say anything about.
Okay, yeah. See, because I wouldn't have a problem with the S&D thing at all if it was prefaced by by the way, like our main competitive stuff is still coming. You know what I mean? Right now, everything's speculation and probably good speculation, but
there is a guaranteed. They didn't promise or anything, but it looks like there was a guaranteed, new competitive series that is not solos. We've basically had that guaranteed because of that post Winter Royale post-mortem blog post. That's basically it. That's all the news we have about competitive.
Yeah. Well, there's also the leaks if you want to talk about those.
Trios, please.
Yeah, a lot of trios talk. What are you?
Well, we got some calls. We got some callers coming up. I think someone wanted to talk about trios. So we'll hold up. Paul, you want to grab this next person in here?
Yeah, this beautiful gentleman.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Taylor. Calling from the Epic Games headquarters.
Whoa! You hacked the world.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Hold on. This is my moment to finally be like, when's the competitive announcement?
Hashtag remove Max.
Epic employee.
No.
Fix my S&D bugs. Taylor, please.
Anyway, Taylor, what did you want to talk about?
So basically, my first take was just relax. The game's kind of buggy right now. They said they're going to be working out some issues. In the end, they're trying to do this to improve the overall quality of the game. And this is essentially beta testing for Chapter 2, Season 2. So while it kind of sucks that this patch is going to affect Dreamhack, well, I guess last patch is going to affect how Dreamhack is played, the game's not going to be perfect right now, and just deal with it. We're at a quiet time. We're at a lull. Let them fix the bugs. So when the next season comes out, hopefully the game is better as a whole.
I mean, I generally tend to agree with like bugs happen, like they suck, but you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know if there's anything to do with like the players letting Epic fix them or anything, right? Like Epic needs to fix them in a hopefully reasonable time frame, and I don't think that there's like any kind of like I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
What are you pointing to? What are you pointing to in specific? Like, I haven't really seen any super big complaining except about like, you know, the pickup bugs and stuff like that about Chapter 2. I mean, not Chapter 2, but 11.5.
Just typically people complaining about FPS drops or the hitches or end game lag. But that's normal. Even before this patch, just kind of, I don't know. I didn't really know what to say. You guys were asking for takes, so I threw this out here.
There has been.
No, you can't do this to us.
I can't believe
You can't
this.
make us look desperate.
I can't believe you're
There
doing
has
this.
been like a lot of talk on 11.5 compared to other patches about FPS dropping and frames being.
Oh
really
yeah,
low.
like it's bad right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason DreamHack's being playing on 11.4 because of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, if
don't
anything,
know.
that's something to celebrate, right? It's like, whoa, this has never happened before, and I never would have seen it happening. This is phenomenal. This is something I've like asked for forever. This is how most esports operate, right? Most big esports operate, right? Like this is how it should have always been. So, yeah, I'm super grateful for that, and I agree, Shyo and Taylor to that point. Yeah, it's bugs, it's buggy. Pros don't have to play on it for like the biggest events.
I think this is actually like the biggest time where there's actually been a significant like downgrade in lag in end games.
Yeah.
Where we actually aren't complaining that much. Like if this had been a patch back in season like 6 or something like that, we would all freaking out because you just can't play really. You can't really do what you're used to doing. But the other thing is like we played so long with like a bunch of different patches that have done that where we've been used to it, right? We know how to play with low FPS in fourth zone because we've had experience and we've had exposure to stat games now. So yeah, I don't think I think the community is actually reacting perfectly fine. It's like, hey, there's an issue. FPS is bad. Like, please don't forget about this. But also it's not like, oh my God, Fortnite competitive can't ever live because the game is so laggy. Oh no. You know, it's not like that. So
yeah, and I don't think people are either. Just kind of throwing that out there. Just relax, let it happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, what happened?
Nice.
Oh, that was weird.
Oh,
that was weird. All right, I don't think we have like necessarily a whole lot extra to add on to this. Somebody's gone. So thanks, man.
Yep.
Thanks for the topic.
Thanks for having me, guys. See ya.
hey,
Peace out.
later, man.
Shyo, we didn't get a chance really to talk much about AO yet.
AO, yes, sir. What about AO?
Did you follow AO much?
I did an entire watch party on AO from start to finish. I think I might have missed out on a little bit of pre-production and a little bit of post-production highlights, but I watched the whole event. Yeah.
Heck yeah. How'd you feel about your man in arms Aussie Antics?
I like Aussie Antics was definitely a very good addition to AO. Bopped out the show, balled out as well. Casting was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Then I learned a lot from watching that as well, and the competition was cool too. It came to
Brezzo slaying out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was really crazy all at the end. The second time, like in solos as well. In an international competition, that there was such a disparity between first and second place.
Yeah, like crazy. Like
it's cool to see.
Like World Cup level disparity.
A lot of people. The biggest conversation, at least in my stream, was like me not calling it a compliment. Like, still, why does Benji not perform? Why aren't these like top pros that everyone says will win every time at the top of the leaderboard? And me defending it by saying it's not a compliment. Shouldn't it be easier for those guys to even perform and play better? Had to defend that point a lot. So it's an interesting take.
Yeah.
I actually thought that I just straight up blame solos for the reason that not that these guys are bad at solos, but just that it doesn't work and there's too much random factors. I mean, when you really look at it, Bresso did get a lot of zones. Like he's just straight up did. It wasn't like, people aren't talking about it like Booga level, but like in that last game where he slayed out, he got a lot of zones, man. He got a zone in pretty much every single one of them.
Oh no!
And
Walla's cranking out the 10
he played out of his mind. He played out. I'm not cranking out the 10. I'm literally saying it's just. Sometimes random, bro.
Yeah. That's what RNG is.
We program the zones to make Bresso win. Bresso played out of his mind.
He's just so marketable. How could they not?
For me, it's just like I wish we had more opportunities to show that these smaller regions are developing. Because what's Brazil been up to since King?
Yes.
I don't know. And
they've spawned another king, by the way.
Really? Who's that?
Second king. Yeah, it's a guy named King.
Oh. Cool.
Would this be the king's son? The prince is taking the throne?
SMG king versus the king with the I in his name.
Oh, yeah. There's always kings.
Yeah, so the SMG guy has won like 7 cash cups in Brazil.
Jesus.
And so, that's what they've been up to.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's I think I mentioned it to you as well, Balla. A cool take about international competition. Thank you for slamming the door. Very appreciated, mother. It's basically if there was a way to have minor regions face each other and have a complete epic LAN at the very end between all of them, and then all the major regions to face each other, have a LAN at the end, and then divvy out qual spots for worlds like that.
That'd be great.
I think that'd be really cool. And we get 3 international LANs a year.
That'd be dope.
That would probably be a lot more manageable. So cool. I don't know. I think that'd be really cool. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. All right, Balla, let's grab the next.
Proposing forever on this show, I think.
Yeah, definitely. More lands, the better. The more inter-region lands, the better. All right, we got our next caller in here. We're getting close to the wire here. What's your name and where are you calling from?
What's going on, guys? Fellow boomer Pastozzi in the house.
Yo!
Calling from the Austin, Texas.
The Austin, Texas. Love it.
Land of 50 ping, no matter where you play on.
Mm-hmm. I feel it.
I wanted to talk about, it's speculative. We know it's speculative. It's not confirmed, but trios. Trios would hype the community up more than any mode, and maybe it's my nostalgia, but there was something about trios that just felt right. I think in this meta with no mobility, I think rotates would be sick. I think endgames would be stacked. I think the best teams would have the smartest ways to go about endgame because that mat cap increases. I just think it would be the most fun to watch, especially with low mobility. And the level of play is so much higher than when Trios first was played. The famous Shyo clip of Arab shockwaving himself twice outside in the zone. People just running all over the place. Trios separated. Now the level of play is so high that I think we would have insane comp situation with Trios.
Don't stop talking, man. Keep going because I like this.
Yeah, dude.
I like this.
I mean,
Shyo wet.
Yeah, I mean, I hyped him up with the famous Shyo clip. That's why.
Yeah, no, dude. It was. Trios just need justice, man. Because the shockwaves didn't give it the 100% it could have been. I don't think people have seen that. I think that's why people like squads a bit more. But it's it just needs justice.
Yes.
It just needs
justice for trios. Hashtag justice for trios, bro. We had the worst season of all time played on trios. The worst season of all time. We had Rift Zones. We had Tilted Town. We had Retail Row with the most broken loot ever.
Junk Rifts.
We had Junk Rifts. Junk Rifts. Were they in the finals?
They weren't in, but they were in.
They were in kind of.
Psychologically, they were in. Psychologically.
Exactly. We had Nex. We had the Brutes.
Yeah.
There was so much wrong with Trio. I didn't watch a lot of I was too busy playing WoW because I was not I was
I forgot it was that time.
I played WoW because it was Max and I was like, yeah, F this. I don't want anything to do with this. And then I was also doing the content stuff for Epic. And then I don't know. I just didn't have time. And then I went on vacation for the final. So I missed Shyo's beautiful Shockwave, Aqua, Stompy, Shinken comeback call. But what I didn't miss was the bullshit.
Yeah, I agree though. I mean, all it takes is going back to as far back as our very first episode of Hotline FN or I mean, go back to episode 4 with Shyowager, and you'll know that like we love trios here as like a general like idea and thought. Like I love trios, man.
Hey Tim, how many webcams we got up right now?
How many webcams do I have up right now?
Yeah, we got 3. You know what I'm saying? Like we live and breathe this shit, man.
Whoa!
Straight up.
Wow, that's insane. Look at this. It's been the play ever since the beginning. Hotline will be trios, and Fortnite will be trios. Yeah. I know. I'm super stoked for trios. I think everything you've said, Pesto Z, is basically true. I think that we're at a way higher level skill than we had been in the past for trios. The game is in a totally different state. Everyone's got plenty of practice tunneling like mad, sticking on each other. And you know, squads was cool. Squads was dope. Squads was rad. I would love to bring that down to trios.
Justice for squads. Hashtag justice for squads. Same thing, bro. Come on, man. We didn't even get a broadcast. We didn't even get a broadcast. We got a couple tweets a week of hype. We got not even a couple tweets. We got a few. Like we have 3 tweets of the entire competitive season. We had a break of a week. Like we had so much, and squads. Like there was nothing, bro. There was nothing. Literally, the community is like, "Oh, squads."
Dude, squads just like a sausage fest of people trying to rotate. It's not the wave, man.
It's the same thing in trios, bro. I'm sorry. All right, I won't argue about this because I know everybody. Yeah, trios feels more manageable. No, come on, man. Like it's the same. It's the same clusterfuck. No, come on. It's absolutely the same cluster.
No,
yes,
it's literally one player less cluster.
And it's the same, bro. If I'm trying to observe a trios fight versus a squad fight, if I am training my crack squad of observers on the practice server, they have the same tough ass job in trios than they have in squads. It's just as hard to watch. And I'd argue that it's fucking easy to watch if you just have a trained eye and understand what's going on. Like, come on, man. No, but look. At the end of the day, I am fine with trios. I love trios and I love squads. Just please pick one. Please pick one.
I'm good with that.
It would work. Yeah. They would both work.
Yep. Even the thing is that people are always like, they'll never drop solos. Like it'll be solos and something else. And they're probably right.
Drop solos.
Yeah, drop something. Drop something. Like it's frustrating because like I get it. Like not everyone can find a trio and they still want to play solos competitively and they still want to feel like they're, you know, playing for the World Cup if they're playing solos competitively or whatever. Like I get it, but like, okay, now think into the future where you're actually on the level of where you're actually competing to play in the World Cup. And now you've got to split half your time between practicing duos, practicing solos every week, deciding which thing to like focus on, you know, like deciding if you're going to share your solo drop strats with your duo and all this shit. Like
I'm freaking out. Sorry, Tim. This guy just said in my chat, solos are the epitome of BRs. Excuse me? Fortnite BR is the only game that has solos. Are you kidding me? It is the only game that runs solos as a competitive mode. There is no such thing as the epitome of BRs. Like, it's dog shit. I'm sorry. It's so bad. I hate them. Can we please?
Can we please what, Balla?
Look. Take them, like, okay.
Drag solos out back, bro. Put them on the curb.
Yes.
Dude, so
yes.
Like,
put your Doc Martens on, get your stomp ready.
It's like, so right now we got trios and solos, right? Imagine a world where we just had trios, but 2 tiers of high-end trios and then like academy trios. We lessen up the player count, so it's a little bit more manageable on RNG on where people are landing. We have 80-man lobbies with trios, and we have 2 tiers of trios. And now solos is gone. Everyone's practicing one mode. We got relegations. We talked about my major minor thing before. We're playing Fortnite. I'm a millionaire. Balla has 14 kids. Tim has like a metropolis. He has superpowers. Like we're booling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Inject
we're here.
that into my veins.
We're here, right? Like that is the wave. But like, will we get to that wave? I don't know. Does Balla have the stamina for that many kids to be decided? It's a question, man. It's a question.
It's a question. It's a question worth asking.
Yeah, I think everybody has a fear of like taking away solos, even though most people just don't like them. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like, yeah, I like solos, but that's because they don't have any friends.
If you like solos, I wouldn't have 15-minute arena queues during peak hours.
Facts. No, but look, like, yeah, people like solos, and we could keep solos, man. We could have arena solos. We could have this stuff that people like to play. We can have solo cash cups, but please don't make World Cup solos. I know it's going to happen, but please, I'm begging you. I can't follow it. If you guys want to talk about unfollowable, talk about solos. Because, bro, there's 100 people and Brezzo comes out of nowhere. We didn't watch him for 4 damn games because there's 100 people to watch.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Brezzo's winning. And, oh, who's Brezzo? Who is he?
We know it's gonna happen.
He saw
because Epic's gonna say, look at Booga. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He was in a Super Bowl commercial.
Because he won $3 million, not because he was
Right.
followed throughout
Right.
the course of the game. Yeah, exactly.
I'm
I agree
saying
with
from
you. I
their
agree with
wins.
you. Yeah, yeah, I definitely could see
And
that.
Booga was a unique case, bro. Booga was somebody who we all had huge high hopes for. And yeah,
He had a
fortunately,
storyline.
The day of, he performed. Week 1, he qualified in number 1 of the entire World Cup qualifiers. Week number 1. And then from there on, he was like doing actually, he probably had some of the sickest highlight clips throughout the entire online opens. Like, he's nuts. And then he comes in the World Cup. He gets a shotgun kill. He goes, he wipes his, what does he do? Like, he wipes his sweat off his hands. He's like, yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, of course. That's awesome. But we were so lucky. We were so lucky that was a thing. Like, absolutely, that was a 1% chance. It was literally a 1% chance of that happening at World Cup.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Cool. Awesome. I think we've talked plenty about how much solos suck, and we all love team modes.
Cheers are awesome.
All right. Thanks so much. Pestozzi?
Just Pesto.
Cozy.
Pesto. Thanks so much,
I love
Pesto.
Pesto.
I hope you have a fantastic evening, man. Thanks for calling
Best sauce.
in. Best sauce.
Later,
Best sauce.
later, fellas.
All right. Before I send you goofy nutters out of here, something's been bubbling, percolating in Senor Balla's head, and something he's been working on with a couple other people. Some creative projects. What's coming down the pipeline, Balla? You want to give us a teaser here?
Yeah, I have been working pretty much since my tweet about like depth of box fighting. I've been working on a little something in creative. I'm not sure if people are gonna like it. We'll see. I've been having a ton of fun play testing it with you
like
guys
it.
and a couple other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blast. Basically, I'm taking the thing that we love right now, which is box fights, and adding a whole lot of depth to it, which won't make it boring to watch over and over, and it could be very fun to watch. But you never know. You Quake heads in the chat, you Unreal Tournament heads in the chat. If anybody knows what those are, you guys are gonna have fun. So yeah, I teased a little bit on my Twitter last night on 1v1 mode, 2v2 mode, FFA mode. It'll be fun. Probably tomorrow releasing.
Ooh.
Probably tomorrow or Saturday.
Wow. Keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes peeled. All right. Shyo, as we wrap up this 21st episode of Hotline FN, what do you got going on, and where can people see you getting up to it?
I'm about to go watch and cast over some West games. It just links right under my webcam. Shyowager. We're going to be balling out over there. And then, yeah, that's what I'm basically doing. Just putting some light on that West Coast. And this Saturday, man, you guys can catch the practice server. Me and Monster will be casting over the first international online insane competition, hashtag Elite Cup. It's going to be lit, man. It's going to be cool. I want to see how that goes out, too.
It's going to be dope.
Yeah, cool things coming up. Yeah.
I'm stoked about it. And Shyo, people can find you at twitch.tv/Shyowager, and same on Twitter, right?
Same on Twitter, same on YouTube as well.
YouTube.
Just plug that now.
The content is rolling out on you. There was a video today. I saw it.
Yep.
I saw the one.
Yep.
I saw the
Can you
one.
post more sexy Instagram posts, please?
Instagram post. There's a fun. Okay, I'll try to. I got to overcome the fear. but I'll try
Wow,
to, yes.
man, you're a pushover, Shyo. That was the easiest convince ever.
No, so basically, like, long story short, there's this girl I ghosted but didn't unfollow and still follows me on Instagram. So I don't want to post a picture and then she's gonna be like, "Yo, what happened? Like, what's going on?" So I'm like, that's literally the only reason I haven't posted on Instagram since like December.
Oh,
we'll get back on
dude.
it. We'll get over the hurdle 100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You better. All right, Shyo, thanks so much for being on Hotline FM, man. I hope you have a phenomenal evening. Peace.
Love you.
Love you. All right, Balla, we already talked a little bit about what you got going on, but in this coming week here, besides this super hot, fresh fire creative mode, what are you doing? What are you getting up to?
I have. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. That's something very important.
Yep.
Is it tomorrow or is it today? I don't even really know. But anyways, we're doing a thing tomorrow. You guys have no involvement whatsoever, but
Zero.
It's Valentine's Day, and I just have to. It's Valentine's Day. I won't be doing shit tomorrow besides releasing my map, hopefully. And then after that, I'm not doing anything this weekend. I'll be watching the cast with Shyo and company, the practice server guys, with the tournament that they're running. And then I think basically just preparing for Anaheim and hopefully doing a little bit more streams. But yeah, I have to figure out what the hell we're doing at Anaheim because I leave on Thursday. And Friday is the start of the tournament. And if I don't know what we're doing by then, if I don't have like microphones for Shyo and I to use, it might be way more scuffed than I am even anticipating. But
tell you what, we'll
work it out. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna do Hotline FN from the Dreamhack floor. You guys are just gonna be on your cell phones on the Discord app. Easy money.
Yep.
Easy money.
No, I mean, legitimately, we might be walking around with our cell phones streaming like behind somebody. We might like go behind like Booga, or Booga's not even going, but we might go behind Benji and literally watch him.
Oh my god.
And that's
gonna be amazing. That'll be great.
Yeah,
that's the Dreamhack coverage.
Really cool. It could be really terrible, but you never know. And whatever it is going to be, it's going to be unique. And you got Shyowager and you got myself. And actually, I think a lot of people have started volunteering behind the scenes too. So
some great personality. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Balla. Thanks as always for co-hosting this phenomenal podcast, the best call-in show in all of Fortnite.
It's true. It's the best. It's also the only, but it is the best.
Whoa. Hold up. Don't put down my put-ups, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Have a fantastic evening, Balla. I'll just give you the two fingers. That means bye.
Peace. Two-finger tap. Across the screen.
Got you. ET phone home. Goodbye. Oh, I jumped too far. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to yet another episode of Hotline FN, episode 21. Pretty crazy. Blackjack. Do I win any cash? I don't know. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to everything Shyowager does. Same thing for Ballatw, and please for me too. I don't do a lot. I mostly do this, and then I tweet things on Twitter. So there's that. Best way to support people and get them to continue to do things that you like is to do what they ask, right? The easy free stuff. Follow on Twitch. Follow on Twitter, a like on YouTube, whatever it is. It's great. It's awesome. It pushes everybody to where they want to be, and it keeps you getting content. So that's fantastic. Thank you to everybody who called in. My deepest apologies to people who tried to call in, but we had to cut them off for the sake of episode length. Please come back next week. Bring your takes. Bring them. Bring all of them. It's fantastic. So that being said, once again, thank you for watching Hotline FM.